Alright, I'm going to show people how to join a new color in a row, in a new round or row. And you can do this in a chain or in a regular stitch. So what you'll first do is do an overhand knot to make a loop like that. Put your hook through your stitch you're going to make your first stitch in. Tighten that loop down. Draw it through and do a chain one. And take your tail and pull that down tight. So now I'm going to put a single crochet in the same stitch. So I'll chain up one, then put a single crochet in the same stitch. And what I did was I worked the single crochet over the top of that tail. So I'm going to keep working over the top of the tail for a few stitches, and that will help secure your tail. And then when you go back, you can take your put your needle on this end, weave it around a post or a stitch, then go back the other way. So you can keep stitching over this for a couple inches, then when you go back to weave it in the opposite direction to secure your tail. Okay, now after you've stitched over a few inches, you can just drop that tail and just keep going. Okay, so now we're going to pretend like I'm running out of yarn with this first skein. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the new skein from behind, I'm going to lay it over the top of the stitches and leave myself a little tail out, and I'm going to start stitching over the top of that. And I'm going to do that for a few inches to help hold down the new yarn. I'm not working with it yet. But there's my new yarn. Then when I go back, I'll wrap it around something with the needle, then go back the other way to help secure it. Okay, so now I'm getting to the end of my old skein. I've got just a little bit left. I'm going to make most of the next stitch, but I'm going to save the last yarn over. I'm going to drop the old skein, pick up the new skein, do my last yarn over of the last stitch. Then I'm going to start stitching over the old skein with my new yarn. And you can do that for a few inches to help secure your tail. Then when you go back to weave in your tails, go back the other way after wrapping this tail around a stitch or a loop, then go back, weaving the other way. Now, after you do a few inches, just drop your tail off behind, and you can go back later and weave it in. This only works if you have continuous stitches. If you have a bunch of skip stitches or open lace work, this really won't work that well. You have to have at least 4 or 6 stitches all together. So you would do 3 stitches in the old skein, save your last yarn over for the 3rd stitch, and do the yarn over with the new skein, then stitch over it just like I showed. And that's how I change skeins and how I join a new color. Just stitch over them. It'll cut your weaving ends in half if you stitch over it for like 2-3 inches, because then you only have to do half of it going back the other way. And that's all there is to joining and changing skeins when you run out. I hope this helps. Thank you.